What time it is right now. If I could have everybody's attention, we're supposed to start at 8, and that's what it is, and we got a longer than normal meeting today, which most hours are pretty quick anyway. Robert, you want to tell the good Lord look after us today? Sir, first thing I want to tell y'all is thank the committee very much for everything you did when Daddy died. Y'all sent a great big old spray, and I didn't ask them to, but they evidently realized at the funeral home how important y'all are to me, and they had it sitting right out front next to where everybody walks in, and I appreciate everything, and I know some of you contributed to the Friends Helping Friends thing, and that means a whole lot, and I appreciate it. Thank y'all very much. Y'all mean more than I can tell you personally to my family and me. So thank you. If you look on the agenda, the first thing on there is House Bill 341. We're going to hold that till next week. It was going to be a hearing only, and Representative Pack and Marion are not quite ready to talk. It wasn't anything we had to vote on, so it's not anything pushing. We're going to try to do the 2 Senate bills, and then we have a couple of presentations that I think y'all will be real interested in. I have invited some other folks that may be interested in a couple of them to come, but whether they get here or not, I don't know. So without anything else, Senator Ginn, you want to come up to the hot seat right there, please, sir? Right here, sir. That'd be fine.
Language in the law.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anybody got any questions? This is basically taking something out of the book, right?
Yes, sir.
You got any idea who's going to handle it over here?
I'm going to ask the chairman to handle it.
To handle appointing somebody to handle it. Is that?
How many representatives
Well, your bill ain't out yet.
I got a question.
All right, Robert.
You want to buy a rap?
Sydney, did y'all have anything? Any more questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
If any of us ever come to economic development on the wrong side of the Capitol over there, if we wind up there, just remember how easy this was.
How simple it is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman Wilkinson? What you want to do, 209 first? Oh, okay. How about doing 97 first then? All right, first, before he gets started, everybody look in your folder. First thing all the beef cattle folks need to do is tell Terry England thank you for line 40.1.2 in the budget. That's your bull test guy in Calhoun. And talk to Jack Hill and tell him not to mess with that particular line in the budget. To all the folks on the committee, there's some cattle facts in your folders talking about beef cattle. Farm Bureau's got a handout in your folder. And also, if any of you might be interested in where your ribeyes and your New York strips and your hamburger come from, that's what this beef cut thing is. And anybody in the audience that may want to know where they come from, we got a stack of them up here. I'll be glad to let you look. I'll give you one. You eat beef, y'all know where it comes from. So, without me saying anything else, Chairman, go ahead, sir. Thank you for coming over here. Have any questions for the chairman? Huh?
You mentioned referendum. When would this end of the referendum be held?
Well, there'd be a sign-up period this summer, and then the referendum would be held after that. I don't know about
What's the national checkup on that?
that be a specific date. It would be after there'd been adequate time for the producers to sign up. And the Department of Agriculture report.
Okay. Executive Secretary of the Cattlemen's Association, Josh White's here. Did you want to?
Just appreciate y'all's support. Chairman Wilkinson did a great job. Got any questions?
Jeffrey?
Same here. Just appreciate the chairman bringing this. This is probably the ideal form of government as farmers pool their money together to help pay for their research and promotion and education. So it's something we like and support. Appreciate it.
All right, any more questions?
Mr. Chairman, just Chairman Wilkinson, to answer for the committee, I think it'd be good for everyone to know, who holds the money, how it's collected, and how it's distributed. I think it might be a good commodity commission.
Josh? Sure. And Jeffrey,
had a lot of experience with commodity commissions as well. So it is administered by the Department of Agriculture. All commodity commissions are. And the commodity commission, once appointed, decides how to spend the money. It's farmer run. There will be 5 members that is specified in this bill. The 3 members will be cattle producers, 1 will be a livestock market operator, and 1 will be a dairy. So we're incorporating all the stakeholders that will pay into the checkoff, what we would call the checkoff of the commodity promotion, and ensure adequate representation. And they will decide how to spend the money within the bounds of the.
They would be able to assess up to $1 a head, not more than $1 a head, and if an animal sells possess, then $100 per head would remain subject to the assessment.
If you look on the bottom of the front page of this handout and the bottom of the back page of this handout, it kind of answers what you were asking. I had to look myself, Rick, to make sure it was in here. And then what it says, who will decide, and then how do we know they'll be spent wisely? That kind of gets into who's handling it and who's looking after it. But thank you for asking that, because it's going to get asked on the floor, I'm sure. All right, is there any more questions? Same?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say thank you guys, the beef producer and Bill Calvin and Tommy and everybody putting this together. It's a great industry, and I wish we put it together. Okay.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Sam, you gonna handle this on this side? Okay. Mr. Chairman, I hate to do this to you, but there's been some questions pop up in the last 10 minutes about 209, and I have been asked to wait till next week. Is that okay with you? I don't think it's anything big, but there's a question or two.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that all right?
I was just a little bit after this, and you put me on after Frank, put me in the center again, because I got a meeting at 9 o'clock. But everything worked out okay.
I was amazed that we ain't got to you yet with him in here. That's what. Thank you, Tim. Also along the beef cattle lines, cattlemen's doing their breakfast in the morning. Everybody is invited, not just the Ag Committee, but the Ag Committee is especially invited. Is at 2:30, around 2:30 in the morning, starts at 7:15. And they steak biscuits, and they ain't cube steak. They real tenderloin steak biscuits. It'll be worth your time to try to eat one of them. Also for the Ag Committee, while I'm on the eating part, tomorrow at lunch, what room is that in, Pat? In 216, the game fowl breeders are having a lunch for the Ag Committees. So we get to eat beef in the morning and the chickens at dinner time. We have 2 presentations, and right before we get to that, according to the Equine Commodity Commission law, we have to appoint an ex officio member. The Senate does one and the House does one. One of them has to be from the South, one of them has to be from the North. And it's delineated in the bill what North is. So basically it's Macon North is what we have to appoint one from. I'm going to assign a subcommittee to get together before next week, if you don't mind. Barbara Epps, would you mind, since you're on the exposition authority, being the chairman of this subcommittee? And then I'm going to appoint Sam Watson, Margaret Kaiser, Patty Bentley, Regina Quick, and Dale Rutledge. I'll give the new folks on the committee something to come back, if that's all right with everybody. we got to, we got to pick the ex officio member for the Equine Commission. We have to do it every odd numbered year. And this happens to be an odd numbered year, so anyways, y'all can come up with something by next week. If you got any questions from me or any of the others, I'll talk to you. All right, we got two presentations, and y'all will be real interested in them. Patty, you want to introduce the Fort Valley people?
Good morning again. I'm very proud to have with us this morning from the Fort Valley State University, the other land-grant institution of the state, Dr. Mark Lattimore, Jr., Assistant Vice President, also serving as Interim Assistant Vice President and Administrator for Extensions at Fort Valley State University. He's going to come and share with us now some of the good things that are going on at Fort Valley State. Dr. Lattimore, thank you for being here this morning. Fort Valley State, as we all know, is in beautiful Peach County that is represented by Representative Robert Dickey and myself. So we'd love to invite all of you down to the Peach Festival in June. Get some of that homemade peach cobbler. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving us this opportunity.
I don't know how many other states have it, but we have two land-grant colleges in the state of Georgia, and we're lucky to have them, especially when it deals with agriculture.
Yes, sir.
One's in Athens, and one is in Fort Valley.
Mr. Chairman and the members of the committee, first I would like to thank Representative Bentley for the invitation, and also Representative Dickey for the opportunity to address you this morning. While the folders have been circulated, I'd like to give you just a little information about me. I grew up in Southwest Georgia, a place called Western Georgia. Anybody heard of Western Georgia? Okay, it's about halfway between Columbus and Albany. And I always tell people that the people in Columbus get their mail from Western, through Western. Growing up in Southwest Georgia, I grew up on a farm, and we raised primarily peanuts and corn during that time. I did my undergrad at Fort Valley State. I got my master's from University of Georgia in soil microbiology. Dr. Joel Giddens was my advisor, and I spent about 10 years in the Midwest. First at University of Missouri, and then the other 5 was Chevron as a research agronomist. So I had an opportunity in '84 to move back to Georgia, back to Fort Valley State. For some reason, I couldn't shake that land grant, I would say, initiation that I received early. And as a result of that, I have enjoyed the opportunity of being at Fort Valley State, as well as collaborating and working with my friends at the University of Georgia. Many of you may not know, but Scott, the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Environmental Science at Georgia, and I shared the same advisor at Missouri during the same time. So we go back a way as well. Fort Valley State University, as the chairman indicated, is a land-grant university. It's an 1890 land-grant university, and you are familiar with that. As an 1890 land-grant university, we offer degrees in agriculture. We have research as well as corporate extension. My responsibilities now focus primarily with corporate extension. I've taught soils for years, and as in recent years, I've been extension administrator in the area of corporate extension. At Fort Valley State, in the College of Agriculture, at the College of Agriculture, the College of Arts and Sciences, as well as the College of Education. But my love is the College of Agriculture, Foundry Science, and Technology. Presently, we have student enrollment somewhere around 475, 480 students. Majors includes agriculture economics, ag education, environmental soil science, horticulture, animal science, veterinary technology, ag engineering technology, and in the area of family and consumer sciences, before family and consumer science, you can get a BS degree in agriculture in the areas in which I just named. We also have family and consumer sciences with emphasis on nutrition, infant and child development, as well as education. Those are BS degree programs and areas. We have 2 master degree programs, one in animal science and another one in biotechnology. In biotechnology, we have an animal emphasis as well as a plant emphasis as well. Our students go into graduate schools at the master level as well as the terminal degree level if we can keep them from going to industry long enough to pursue those degrees. And we definitely need individuals at the graduate level in order to fill a lot of the slots that's vacant throughout, not only throughout Georgia, but also throughout the country. So that is a challenge as far as students in agriculture. We just not graduated enough students in agriculture. For facility perspective, I want to stop and just thank you for the Safe Center, which is a facility that was funded by the department, by the Ag Commission. We were able to complete the facility and move into the facility last fall. So we're very excited about that. What is the Safe Center? The Safe Center is a facility in the case of emergency where evacuation is needed. We can house somewhere between, I think about 80 horses in the facility, 100 dogs, 100 cats. So it's a very nice facility. You will see it in your package, at least part of it anyway. We're in the process of completing a biotechnology addition to our Starwood research facility. So that project is way on the way, and we're very excited about that. We have a family development and a child development project that we are in the process of finalizing the budget this week so we can submit it to the board for approval. These projects are facility-funded projects through USDA, a facility grant that we received through USDA. We also have a Head Start program that serves several counties in the state, primarily the central part of the state. The Head Start program is operated through the College of Agriculture. Are there any questions thus far? Let me talk about cooperative extension and followed by research. You have a packet, and I'm not going to read all the material that you have here. Please take a time and take a look at the material that we have here in the packet. On your left side, you have a cooperative extension program bulletin. This bulletin outlines pretty much what we do with the different programs in cooperative extension. We have an ag natural resource program. We have a family consumer science program, community development program, which we just reinstituted about a year ago, and we have the 4-H and youth development. As we stated at the beginning, there are 2 land grants in the state. So a lot of our programs, a lot of the work that we do, we do it in collaboration with our colleagues at the University of Georgia, both on main campus as well as in the field. We have about 15 cooperative extension agents that are in the field. And to give you an idea as to how the agents are, I would say, positioned or located, our cooperative extension agents are located in an office with the University of Georgia cooperative extension agents as well as the program. So this the way that the field activity has worked since I know before my time, and we found this to be a very efficient and effective way of programming. Our target audience over the years primarily has been small and limited resource farmers, as well as small farmers. And our program is from a training perspective, targets primarily that audience. our program is not limited to that audience. We have, well, actually we had until December the 31st, one of our specialists who was also our program leader for Ag and Natural Resources, Dr. Will Getz. Dr. Getz, in my opinion, has really over the years blossomed our small ruminant program. We're talking primarily goats. Dr. Getz has interacted and trained many people throughout the state and beyond that's interested in small ruminant, in this case primarily goats. I say primarily goats because he has a love for sheep as well. Unfortunately, he retired in December, but fortunately we was able to buy 30% of his time, so he still will be with us and he still will be engaged in programming. The Focus magazine, the Focus Bulletin, is a bulletin that we use to really highlight some programs and successes in extension. The one that I'm holding up is the most recent one. I reviewed the next one that's coming out here shortly yesterday. The person that's on the cover is a person that decided to meet with us, and we talked, and we formed a collaborative effort with Mr. Martin here. Mr. Martin is the CEO of Got Your Goats. He markets product, fresh goat product to Kroger's in and around this area. So that has been a very good relationship. There's a story in this booklet that discusses those activities. So if you get a chance, take a look at it as well. The second focus is an older focus. I put it in primarily to give you just a little snapshot of the Safe Center and also the centerfold. I think it in this one gives you a shot of a organic gardening system that we have on campus, and we're excited about that. We have a person in horticulture that's into gardening, into organic gardening, so we have an 18-acre organic system that we have devoted to vegetables, orchard, tree crops, nut crops. So we definitely invite you, if you're in the area, stop by. We'll be glad to give you a tour.
How many dogs and cats can hold?
Dogs and cats up to 100 each.
And the dogs round up the cats?
we keep them separated. we keep them separated. This is a picture of one of our farms, our research farm, and that's the site where we usually have a field day every 2 years. So when we have our next field day, you will receive an invitation, and we would love to have you to visit the campus. This publication highlights some of our research activities. Our research activities, as indicated earlier, our research activities focus on small ruminant naturally because we do a lot with small ruminants, goats primarily. In addition to the small ruminant, we have a small ruminant research center, extension center, and we also are doing some work with biofuels, primarily grasses, and we're looking at some sweet sorghum work as well. We're looking in collaboration with a partner that we have in Oklahoma with the sweet sorghum. Primarily we're interested in working with that person because of the dryland nature of that area. On the right side of your book, there are two maps, Georgia maps. The first map, I want to highlight what we're doing here at those locations throughout the state. In addition to our cooperative extension agents that we have located in the field, and the agents cover primarily 34 counties, we have what we call a mobile technology classroom. It's an 18-wheel unit which has about 25 computer stations, and that unit has served us extremely well. We provide training to farmers from training, USDA training when it comes to developing farm plans. We use that unit in conjunction with farm service agents. We take it out to the field, set up wherever they want to set it up, and invite farmers to come in. Farmers, seniors, youth, you name it. If there's an opportunity to utilize this facility, citizens want to utilize the mobile technology classroom, and it is available, they can use it. Now, for this map, for the last few years, we work with seniors on Medicare, on the Medicare initiative, and the counties that we have highlighted on this map are counties where the unit provided training over 2012. With Georgia Care, we partnered with Georgia Care, and the training was related to the State Health Insurance Assistance Program they call SHIP, and also the Senior Medicare Patrol Initiative. This was an outreach initiative where Georgia Care wanted to enroll many rural citizens in the program. And what that meant was that Georgia Care was targeting individuals in Medicare assistance program and educated Medicare beneficiaries to protect them as relates to health, and also to give them ideas to what to look for in the case of health care fraud. There was 22 statewide events as it's located here, which included the Social Security Administration, the Division of Family and Children Services, Walgreens, Hampton Inn, senior centers, and others. Some of the successes from this particular training utilizing this unit included that was about 375 extra help provided to low-income subsidies applications, and that Georgia Care estimated a saving about $1.5 million just by providing that training. They train 404 qualified Medicare beneficiaries, and the potential saving there are a little over $500,000. So other target training included 171 Medicare Part C enrollments, which was completed, and 553 Medicare Part D prescription drug plans enrollment were completed. So we were very excited about this opportunity, and we see this opportunity continuing. From our rural community development component, our rural development area, we just received a grant from USDA for $100,000, and about $39,000 added to that. The lighter color blocks include the counties in which we are serving, and basically what the SET program, the Strong Economies Together, it's a training situation where local individuals are being trained to really just see what can be done in order to enhance the economy in those rural areas. So that project has just taken off, and as we indicated, we are excited about that. One other project success story that I would like to highlight is right next door to Peach County. That's Twiggs County. University of Georgia and one of our extension specialists was able to get a grant funded where they was targeting 4-H youth. And as a result of getting that grant funded, youth from both targeted by both UGA and Fort Valley 4-Hers, these are 4-Hers, was able to spend about a week in Washington, D.C. and focus on Citizenship Washington. It was a Citizenship Washington focus. As a result of that experience, the first year, I think the library was destroyed. The Twiggs County Library was destroyed, and these students led the efforts in raising money to rebuild the library. So we're very excited about that, those collaborative efforts. And I could go on and on, but I'm not going to do that. We have some excellent programs. We have some excellent outreach programs. We also have some excellent research programs, and we have seen those programs grow. We are working more with farmers now. Farmers are engaged, whereas in the past years it was very difficult to get small farmers to really just come to meetings and receive the training they need to sustain their operation. And we see changes in that direction, and we're very excited about that. Any questions?
Question for Dr. Lattimore. Thank you for coming, sir. You know, Fort Valley sometimes don't get the recognition that Cal College in Athens does, but we know y'all down there, and we appreciate what y'all do, especially for smaller farmers. Anybody have any questions? Oh, we got a bunch, brother.
Well, I just have a comment.
Okay.
Follow up, the program y'all had in Tweed County was this homeless program for the city. And I think the National 4-H came down and did a video as part of the national program. The dedication of a group of kids. Look forward to fundraising that to establish a library that's controlled by an active nation. We walked through retirement on County 8 Williams. I don't know if he's still working in any capacity. But Boyd County 4-H is a high organization that really puts arms around those kids. Just have great roads, and they return them by taking a forward step. Raise funds. We'll flip a library that is about complete. It's been replaced with a applaud Lattimore what he does to help us have. So his employees and his staff that provide the leadership with County Community.
I just have a comment as well. I grew up in Athens and was a 4-H'er. I remember I'm an urban legislator on this committee, but I first learned about your college probably 20, I'm not going to say how, 20 plus years ago, from an alumnus of yours who was Assistant Secretary of State. But I just wanted to comment on everything in the folder. I mean, you have programs that we have been struggling with on the Education Committee, like your interview checklist, things that could be a model for the state that we've been struggling with, kids being prepared for, going into the workforce. So I had no idea that I think there are probably 100 things in this folder that you didn't even get a chance to talk about. So it's amazing. I just wanted to applaud you. I hope everybody really goes through the folder, because I've been sitting there looking at everything. It's amazing. Absolutely. I think so. Yeah, you've got things in here that our education committee could model for the state. So, great information.
I just have a comment, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of Representative Deacon, myself, we'd like to invite you all down to see the beautiful campus of the Fort Valley State University. April 23rd is the Ham and Egg Issues Breakfast, so we'd love to all you all to come on down and taste some of our eggs and ham down in the south part of Georgia, okay? The middle Georgia area.
Fort Valley does have several veterinary technicians, field days, got on land, we've all researched on that.
And that mobile technology unit can go to any county across the state, right now.
How about give us an update on the goat industry in Georgia?
Growing. Based on the information that I get from my colleagues in the goat industry, Campbell. That's in the goat. The numbers I can't give you because I don't know. But as far as the number of people that are interested in raising goats and growing goats, those numbers have increased over the last 2-3 years. Beyond what we thought 5 years ago. And I also gave a lot on the number of 4-H'ers that are showing goats now compared to 3 years ago. The exact numbers I cannot tell you because I don't know personally. But it is going.
Dr. Lattimore, I know that goat showing is the fastest growing youth activity in FFA and 4-H. Even from the little bitty kids on up. And I know we're sitting here with beef in front of us and chicken people too, but worldwide, goat meat is probably eaten more than either one of the two that we think is the main things to eat worldwide. And it is a growing industry in Georgia, and y'all's research down there is priceless on the small ruminant stuff. He talked a little bit about got your goat. Y'all know what, when I grew up, everybody, if you get all irritated and agitated before somebody would ask you who got your goat, do y'all know where that came from? It seems to be that in the racehorse industry, they would put a goat in the stall with the racehorse before the night before the big race to calm the horse down. And opposing trainers would go in and steal a goat out of the horse pen, and the racehorse would get all agitated, and that's how come everybody wants to know who got your goat when you seem to be agitated. So if somebody asks you who got your goat, that's where it came from. You never know what you're going to learn in ag committee. Well, thank you, sir. We have one more presentation. I kind of waited, Senator John Rip, I kind of waited till y'all put y'all kind of toward the end because there were some people wanting to get here, and I didn't know if they were hung up in traffic. If y'all have never seen this essential economy presentation, you're going to want to see it again. And it's probably one of the best presentations I've ever seen. It talks about a lot of the stuff that we really don't think about. And Senator Moody, Senator John Ripper, John Bullock called me this morning and said for me to tell y'all howdy. He's sitting in his shop in Oak Lockney and not missing this place at all. He said he misses all of us, but he doesn't miss this place. So,
well, I hope he's online, Mr. Chairman, watching this. We'll reach out and say we hope he's feeling better.
He is doing better. He is. But without me messing up an introduction to y'all, I'm going to let you handle it from here on.
Red dot now. I'm Dan Moody, and my good friend Sam Zamarripa and I really appreciate the time, Mr. Chairman, that you've devoted to us today. And we would also like to thank the committee members for the sacrifices you make to serve in the General Assembly and address the needs of the state. We've broken our discussion this morning into two parts. I'm going to give you some background about an organization that we call the Essential Economy, and then Sam's going to go into more detail about some results of a study we recently completed. And some of you may recall a brochure that was put on your desk. The chairman sponsored its distribution in the House chamber a few weeks ago. If you haven't got a chance to look at it, we're going to review some of those details today, but please keep it in your reading stack for later this summer because it gives you a good foundation and a good review of what the essential economy is all about. Some of you may not realize that Sam and I served together in the state senate. We were first elected in 2002. Sam's district in Atlanta meant that he represented a large group of Democrats. I served in from North Fulton, and consequently I represented a large group of Republicans in my district. So we found that once we got into the Senate, we agreed on lots of things. We both have a strong business background. We didn't always vote alike, but oftentimes we did. And you'll be surprised that Sam actually was the final vote that we needed to create the city of Sandy Springs. And if you like what's going on in Sandy Springs, you can thank Sam. If you don't, you can blame me because I talked him into voting for that incorporation. Likewise, I actually voted for a tax increase once as a Republican, so you can see that
I voted against it.
So you can see that we frustrated our leadership on many occasions. But after we left the Senate, we stayed in touch. We visited on the phone several times over the course of the time that we left the Senate. And one time we were talking about some of the issues that the state was facing. Education issues, transportation. And this was about almost 2 years ago at a time that there was a lot of discussion about getting jobs into the state of Georgia, good jobs. And I applaud the efforts on the part of the governor, the work that Chris Kaminsky's doing to attract those good, knowledge-based, high-paying jobs to the state. But as Sam and I talked about this, we realized that there was a large foundation below that tier of jobs in the state that really had to be there to support the attraction of those jobs to the state. And if you think about it, when you bring some of these companies to Georgia to look at the opportunities we can give them, those people want to have clean sheets in their hotel rooms. They want to eat off of clean plates. And that foundation really needs to be in place to attract those types of jobs that we all would like to see in the state. And as we looked at these sectors of our economy that really support the top tier, we realized that they had at least two things in common. And these sectors, as we looked across those industry groups, and these include, as I mentioned, the hotel industry, the restaurant industry, the poultry industry, vegetable growers, the Home Builders Association, the landscaping industry. As you look at those sectors across our economy, these two things that they all have in common is the people that work in these industries primarily work with their hands, and they don't have to have a lot of credentials to get jobs in those sectors. There's a lot of on-the-job training for these people. If you take a step back and start to look at that like we did, we were curious really what is the contribution of those sectors to the quality of our life in this state. We reached out to people that were experts in the economy, and frankly we didn't find any work that had put together a comprehensive study on the combination of these groups. There's a lot of information about the individual groups, but there wasn't any comprehensive information. And we decided that in order to really address the needs of the state in terms of addressing a lot of our quality of life issues, that it would be helpful to policymakers and lawmakers like yourself to have a good understanding about the contribution of those industry sectors. So About a year and a half ago, we formed a 501c3 organization. Sam's very creative. He came up with the name, the Essential Economy Council. And we started to talk to other people in these industry groups. We created a board. And I'm going to read the names of the board members because I think this will give you a good understanding about the momentum we've been able to put into the Essential Economy organization. You know most of these people. Some of them are here today. People like Brian Toller, Charles Hall, David Ellis, Zippy Duvall, Mary Kay Woodworth, Mike Giles, Chris Butts, Steve Simon, Jay Morgan, Valerie Ferguson, and Karen Bremer. These are our board members today that have helped us get to where we are with the Essential Economy. And when we put the organization together, we started raising funds. As I mentioned, we are a 501c3 organization. We started applying for grant money. We were very successful with that, with a nice grant from the Kresge Foundation to help us fund some of our research. We reached out to the Boston Consulting Group initially to help us start to test some of our thoughts about the contribution of this organization, or the contribution of these sectors to the quality of life in Georgia. And with that foundation, we hired some folks from Georgia Tech within their sector, or within their community, that specializes in the economy. We also talked to one of our economic advisors, Sam Cunningham, with the Federal Reserve Bank in Atlanta. And as you can imagine, they have a host of information about economy statistics. And Georgia Tech basically started at our direction, and it was a paid study, by the way, to pull together the contribution of these sectors to the overall economy in Georgia. And that study was completed in the fall. Part of that is in the information we passed out in the House several weeks ago. Sam also has a much more detailed report to share with you today. So the only other thing I want to share with you before I turn it over to Sam to review some of the findings of the study, and Sam also does a great job of filling in the holes that I forgot to mention in my presentation, is I want to make it very clear. We are a research organization. We don't have a push card with a policy agenda on it. We're not here today to ask you to support a particular piece of legislation or to not support a piece of legislation. Our board members, on the other hand, as they represent their various associations, will do that. And they don't always agree, as you can imagine, because certain times a piece of legislation may help one of them and may hinder another. But ultimately, we've come together to address this large sector of our economy called the essential economy. So, Mr. Chairman, if there aren't any questions for me, I'll go ahead and turn the rest of the program over to my good friend Sam Marippa. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I will say this, that in spite of all the what people are led to believe, the stories have been and always will be better in the House than they are in the Senate, Mr. Chairman. So there is life after politics, and one day I hope that each of you has the opportunity to work with people that you made friends with while you serve the state. Dan and I have been friends now for 12 years, and we've done a couple of things together, and I think this is it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of, I think, good use of what you learn when you sit in the seats that you sit in. And Sam, I want to say to you that I think the House has gotten stronger since you've gotten there, because this absence of Sam's does make a critical difference. This is an observation that I have concluded. Mr. Chairman, a lot of what we have is on our internet, is on our website, and I'm not going to show that today because, frankly, there's too much to show you. And if we whet your appetite with a little bit of information, please give us a call, and I'll come by and show you a lot more data. What we really want to do is give you a tool and a way to think about a big part of Georgia's economy. That's really the outcome of our work. That's the outcome of most good research. We're not here to make you experts in it. We hope that other people will be. For instance, we would love to work with Dr. Latimer at Fort Valley on that, on being an expert, or John McKissick at UGA, or our friends at Georgia Tech who did the study for us. But basically, the essential economy is, as Senator Moody said, it is 6 sectors. It is hotels, it is landscaping, it is hospitality, it's poultry, it's agribusiness, and it's, what am I missing? It's personal care, and it's light construction. And all those sectors together, if you look at them in Georgia, together, they basically share a common workforce. And that workforce in general, Margaret, is undereducated. It's a workforce that most of us have some association with, usually in our family. Because if you came from a family farm, or if your father or mother worked in manual labor or physical labor, you understand exactly the types of jobs we're talking about. And there was a time when those were most of the jobs in Georgia. But as technology, the information economy has improved, what's happened is that people have migrated up to what we consider to be the better jobs, the knowledge economy jobs, the service sector jobs, the skilled jobs. In fact, most of what we do in the General Assembly is really promote that. We really promote a prepared workforce for the future. But the fact is that everything in the past is still very important. You still have to have a goat in every pot, or a chicken in every pot. So Dan and I went to look at this workforce, and this had not been done in the way we did it. So we hired some very smart people from Tech and some very smart consultants from Georgia State, from University of Georgia and the Federal Reserve Bank and other places. And we said, tell us how many of these workers are in Georgia. How many? Tell us where they are. Tell us what sectors they're in. Tell us what they get paid. And we want to know over 10 years. We want to know going back to 2003. And so what you have in front of you is a summary of those findings. These came out in November. Mr. Chairman, it's taken us a while to package them. But let me say what it says. And this was frankly surprising to us because we didn't know. We thought it was big, but we didn't know how big. But it turns out, in very simple terms, there are about 4 million people working in Georgia. If you take 8 or 9 million people living in the state, and you carve out old people, you carve out retired people like Senator Moody, you carve out children, disabled people, it comes down to about 4 million people that our Department of Labor can account for that are really working. Of that 4 million, 25% of them fit the description of the essential economy. In other words, 1 out of every 4 workers is doing work that's this physical kind of work. They're either in a hotel, they're in a restaurant, they're in a retail establishment that doesn't require any kind of higher education to operate a cash register. They're doing physical labor in the farm world. They're doing physical work in the forestry world. They're going to do physical work in the equine commission that you just started. So 1 out of every 4 workers in Georgia is in that cluster of the economy. We found that kind of shocking because most of us talk today about the knowledge economy. We talk about, for our children, that's what we aspire to. For the hope of our state, that's what we aspire to. We're proud that our universities provide talented people to execute those jobs. We put a lot of money into that. But the fact is that our economy in Georgia, this is a conclusion from our study, cannot function without the essential economy. It is structural. So Sam, for instance, if you are lucky to get a Hyundai plant or a Kia construction plant in your district and was in a green field, you couldn't build that unless it was surrounded by the essential economy. Why? Because people have to have places to sleep. People have to have food to eat. It has to be fresh. It has to be clean. It has to be safe. 24 hours a day, every day of the year. So the essential economy is an enabler. It's a structural component of what the state does. So for us to be able to come to the Ag Committee, and we know you understand this. We know you understand it from an agricultural point of view. But this is a great opportunity for us to say, this is something even a little larger than ag. But it's something you share with other colleagues who are interested in economic development or education or good public policy that supports the future of the state. So top findings are these, Mr. Chairman, and then I'll explain any of the graphs that you're looking at in this document. One out of every 4 jobs. Second, it turns out that the essential economy is big in every one of our economic development regions. It's very big. In some, it's off the charts big. 3, it's big in all counties, all 159. And if you open to the middle of this book, you can see those blue lines. If you find your county, most of the counties hover north of 25% of the employee workforce. 4th, if you just took the sales tax alone that these employees pay, just the sales tax, it's about $114 million every year. And then if you take the aggregate value of all these sectors together, of Brian Toller's group, of Charles Hall's group, of Karen Bremer's group, of Chris Butt's group, it's $49 billion every year. So what we wanted to do was to give you a tool so that as policymakers, you are in a position to say, we think that we need to understand the implications of anything we do related to these sectors combined. And that's what the essential economy is. The essential economy is to the working, undereducated folks what the knowledge economy is to the high-end corporate educated folks. So, Mr. Chairman, that's a summary of what we've done. We have a lot of data, and it's visual, and I can't show it. I think it'd be hard to show it this morning, but I had it prepared because I was going to show, Mr. Vice Chairman, I was going to show your district and how it broke out. But we have every single job by every single county, and it's defined by the definitions that you'll find in the back of this, which goes to the detail of the people we include. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll open for questions.
Senator, tell me if I'm wrong. You do have it broken down where you can take Margaret Kaiser's district or counties and compare them to another county.
That's correct.
You can take her district and compare it to my district.
In fact, if you go online, go to our website, and go to the map, you'll see every single county and the proportion of every single county in the essential economy. You just click the county and it'll show you the data. And if you're interested in the more detail, we have this. I mean, this is a lot of information, but we have it so you can actually look at the county by every sector. So you can look at hospitality, you can look at restaurants, you can look at agribusiness, and you can see the number of jobs, and you can see down to the level of how many maids are in a county. So it's a lot to look at. But the real point is that when you put it all together, it's big.
The simplest graph that I can grasp is the pyramid on page 8 that explains what the essential economy, where it is in the workforce and what it is, and it gives you an idea how big it is.
Yes, the most important thing to take away from this is that there are parts of the economy that you're accustomed to talking about. Most of us talk about the knowledge economy or the services economy. That's kind of where we focus. We put this together so you could see that there's this other cluster down there called the essential economy.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to point out, too, it's in the report, but I don't think we mentioned it. Our data was not based on any surveys that we did. The data comes from the Department of Labor. Georgia Tech, with some of their confidentiality agreements, has access to that data. So this was based on information that employers provide to the state, It wasn't done through any surveys that we conducted, so we feel like the information is very independent.
Back to your other question, Mr. Chairman. Ellis, if you took Lowndes and Clinch, if you take the southern Georgia region, it's 28% of the workforce in that region. Where a couple of your counties reside. And then, Mr. Chairman, you cut across a couple of regions, but in the Northeast Georgia region, it's 27%. So your home county, it would be roughly that percentage. And then, buddy, down towards your way, in Middle Georgia, it's 25.6%, and in the heart of Georgia, it's 25.5% of that workforce.
So everything comes out to a fourth of the workforce.
It's a fourth of the workforce. It's been that way for 10 years, and it's going to be that way in 10 years. We're working on a forecast now. So I think as you go forward as policymakers, it's good to, when our board members come to you, remember that they're representing something much larger. Because actually there's a lot of mobility across these sectors. They share a workforce.
Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have a comment and a question. I want to say what great company I feel I'm in here. I get told sometimes by friends that you're like Sam Zamaripa in the House, and that's a huge compliment. But I love the bipartisanship and that an urban senator's here. But the one thing, and I was thrilled to say that you wanted to sort of collaborate with Dr. Lattimore, because I think the one thing that I hear over and over is workforce, but what I'm not hearing, and this may not even be something that your commissioner has done, is again, not to belabor the point, but the workforce, the struggles that I have in the restaurant industry, and I got to fly down with Brian Toller. I've been to Alma and Moultrie now to meet with farmers, and they say the same thing, that the immigration debate was so harmful to their industry because they cannot get a workforce that is steady, that will work the hours they need. We're having the same struggles in the restaurant business. Just the workforce seems out there if you give the unemployment rate looking at the 9%, but getting them trained to do the job has been our biggest struggle. Folks showing up and they can't get to work on time, they're not dressed appropriately. And we are overly generous business owners. I've gone and picked up employees who can't get to work on time because we needed them there, and that's been our biggest challenge in now expanding our restaurant growth because the employees just don't have the skills to come in and do the job. Even though they're, what you're saying, they're undereducated.
There are 4 threats to the essential economy. 4. The top one, unfortunately, we all share something in common with. Everybody's getting older. And the older the workforce, the less capable they are of executing the work at this level. And I know that you've probably been following the age demography in Georgia, but it's a serious issue. Sometime in the next 15 years, the vast majority of people tip over the age of 60. So age is the number 1 threat to the essential economy. The second threat is that all we're doing every day, and it's important, and we should, is we're encouraging all of our young people to become educated and go into the knowledge economy. I have not asked my daughter to get ready for Gotcha Goat, even though I'd like to own it. She went to a fine university, as did your children or your grandchildren or your young children. That's what you aspire. So we call that the aspirational challenge. The third threat to the essential economy is regulatory. And I know that you all pay a lot of attention to that, but because the margins are fixed, because the price of a tomato or the price of a watermelon has been in play for hundreds of years, and those margins have been squeezed and squeezed. The cost of making a bed has been squeezed and squeezed. So those margins are very tiny in comparison to the knowledge economy, where we have these big, big overvaluated propositions. The fourth threat to the essential economy is immigration, because we have, as a country, used immigrants to fulfill roles as we've transitioned, and we've done that for hundreds of years. So those 4 things, Margaret, are the threats. And if you add them all up, it does make Mike Giles lose a little sleep at night. It does make Brian Tolar lose a little sleep at night. It does make Karen Bremer wonder how we're going to expand it. And I will say one last thing about that point. A healthy essential economy does a lot of things, but most important, it gives people mobility. So if you're a Dem and you're thinking about this, think about the mobility that the essential economy provides. It is still a place where a person with no education can show up and work. The first day they're a laborer. The next day they're a crew manager. The next day they're a manager. The next day they're thinking about getting a truck. They get that truck, they get a trailer, they're competing with Tommy Williams now. So and you can do that. You cannot do that at IBM. You can't do that at the house. You got to pay your dues. But you can do that in the essential economy. It is still full of America possibility. And so for a lot of Georgians, 25% of the workforce, it is a place of opportunity. So it creates great things. And if you're on the right side of this and you're thinking it through, please understand that the economics that come out of this aggregate cluster are very big. They're very big. And the alternative to not having a healthy essential economy is not pretty. Because it basically is employing people that, to some extent, have some risks. And so it is a very important part of the economy. It's structural, and that's really the message we have for you. And Mr. Chairman, also, I'll restate that if someone would like to see their data, we can do that very easily online with them.
Anybody else?
Like one
Yes, sir.
comment, and that is, it is not agriculture, but we just attracted the industry, which is computer college.
Yeah.
And it needs someone who can operate a certain
Correct.
500 jobs right now. It's going to be from this essential economy. They're taking well the time to train them. Local technical school. And I think that may be the key to agricultural workforce. We have anything in place that teaches the people in the essential economy how to operate, as Margaret said. They just don't understand agriculture. So we may need to look at some education on how you become a part of the essential economy.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to also add that in the hospitality industry that my family's in, you have a lot of young people who are working towards going to, getting through college. So, but though, again, those are still folks that are going to need those skills at the end of that time they've spent with us in that industry paying their way through college.
That's right.
I'm not trying to find y'all something else to do, but there's some folks that sit on this committee that have some influence over some development authorities in our various parts of the state that need to see what y'all have.
We'd be very interested in presenting to some development authorities because we can do the data regionally. And I think the economic development folks can really dig into this stuff. You guys are policymakers. It's a little different assignment. But we would like to do that. We're also preparing now for our national study that we hope to do later this year. But Georgia has been the place we tested the concept.
Yes, sir.
If I might add something here that I think that we trying to figure out somehow incorporate in the presentation is that this is not an issue of cheap labor. The people that think that we've got domestic folks who just lose jobs because of illegal immigration and all that sort of stuff, they haven't got the picture that it's not the matter of cheap jobs. These people, first off, they're not willing to do, they haven't been taught to work ethics. We can focus on our education on academics, the 3 R's, and we can fail to educate our people on the sense of having a work ethic for sure up on time. Margaret thinks he is the best appropriate of it. And the people that a lot of this involved here is a matter of just plain work ethics. And so many of these folks, they're assigned to what these folks really make doing some of these jobs. And We can fail to educate a lot of our kids in our education system, the importance of just plain, simple work ethic.
Alice, it's a very important issue, and I think you talked to Mike Giles about it, or Brian. I think they'd say the same thing. And when Dan and I talked about this, we made some little recommendations in the back that you can take a look at. But basically, I think if our board takes a leadership role here, I think we can make some good recommendations around work ethic, around a path to learning having more skills. So I think that there are things that can be done. We're very comfortable, everyone's very comfortable doing that at the university level, and to some extent at the community college level. And maybe what this work says is that there's another step in here somewhere.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Have you met with any of the career academies around the state? I mean, this is your mission, and what they're doing in a lot of these career academies is so similar that to show them that data that 1 out of every 4 jobs is going to be in this essential economy would just fit right in with what they're doing and with the high school kids today.
I'm not representative, but we'd welcome that chance. Thank you.
So,
I was just going to follow up. If you drill down into the website information, you'll see the salary information that you indicated by county, and you can get into the detail that you'd like. And to your point, there are some well-paying jobs in this sector.
thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
To the committee members, this has been an unusually long ag meeting, and it has worked out where it did because we got some language cleared up on 209 that we had to hold a while ago, so pull 209 back out of your folders. Things work faster around here sometimes. And we don't have, but I think, 6 more days left, so time's running short, and to some of you newer people, you'll find out. Speaker Murphy used to say from now to the 40th day is the most dangerous time in this whole session because stuff starts getting fixed and stuff starts getting questioned, and you get down to the last 2 or 3 days, you really got to start paying attention. But Chairman Wilkinson had to go to another meeting, and I'm going to try my best. I think I understand this from talking to him the other day. All this says is basically that, you can print off a will or a do not resuscitate or anything offline. You can print it, and it will be a binding document. But somewhere in that, where you print it off, the companies that you either buy it from or get it for free or whatever off the internet, they will have to say line 20 and 21 where it says that they're not a substitute for Regina Quick's advice. So that's pretty much what this bill does. It just says that you can print it off and it'll be okay, but you really need to go talk to somebody who's an expert in that field. Most time they talk about a lawyer. So has anybody got any questions? If they do, I'll try to answer them. If they don't, if I can't, we'll get you an answer. Maybe somebody in the audience that can answer it. Yeah.
I'm going to make a motion to pass. I think you're doing it pretty well.
All right, got a motion in a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Next week, we are in the process, we being mainly Buddy Harden, of rewriting the Flint River Drought Protection Act that was put in 1999 and is having to be updated. We're going to do that next week. They put it in ag because it is an ag issue. If you got any suggestions, we got to fix the mess that the Senate made of it. So,
Mr. Chairman, we'll have a hearing on that, a full hearing before we vote, or can I'll make that in the form of a request?
Well, we can. Just pay attention, and when we get the language close and all, we'll have a hearing on it. Is that okay with you, buddy? Give you some practice. But we'll just pay attention. Remember to fillet biscuits in the morning and the chicken at dinner time. And I hadn't said anything to Farm Bureau or Brian Toller or Charles Hall or any of them, but I did talk to, my mind just went blank. Who's the Expo guy? Chip Blaylock, about putting together a tour for, since we got so many new committee members and some of them are from other than rural areas. Maybe in the fall, go by and look at a $500,000 cotton picker in the field and then go buy a gin and then wind up and get Chip to take us to some things that he thinks we need to see at the expo in October. And then we'll just turn you loose at the expo. As an education type thing. We did it in Northeast Georgia 2 or 3 years ago, and I think it got a real good reception. So we are going to try to look at doing something like that in the fall. Thank y'all again for sitting through a long meeting. Thank you again for what you did for my daddy, and we adjourn.
I'm glad you did that. That's all that period. So they did it.